right, it is good to see everybody here this evening. We're going to go ahead and get started. And just a couple housekeeping things here. We'll talk more about it, but just kind of give you a prelude of in the classroom. So, ladies, I want to use you as a great example of what we don't want to be doing. So we have our friends here. And this is high school kids. This is going to be the hardest thing. So we have to practice social distancing, okay? So if you're going to sit together, the mask on, okay? But over here, we have a great example. So our students over here, they're all every other row, except for one. He should slide over if you're with your family. But if you're with your family and nobody else is around you, you can take your mask off. If you have every other seat and it's just your family in your row, you can have the mask off. But if you are sitting in a mixed row, then we got to have our mask on. But ideally, this section here is a good example. So this is what will happen in chapel and in school. In the classroom, we'll be spread out, and once we've sat down, we're a little bit of ways away from each other, we can take the mask off. So feel comfortable. Again, if you want to keep your mask on for the remainder of the program, you do what you feel that you need to, but at the same time, if you're spaced out, that is okay if you take your mask off. Would like to welcome you to our 56th year of school. It's hard to believe that we are opening up our doors for its 56th year. The Lord has blessed us here. Very, very fortunate to, again, have a school that's been in the community this long. And again, I'm very appreciative. I thank you, parents. We could not be here. We would not have a school if you didn't enter this partnership with us. And thank you for entrusting your students to us. Tonight we have many different things to discuss. We want to help put your mind at ease and get you ready so that we can have a great school year, get things off to a good start. And let's have a word of prayer, and then we'll get into our program. Father, we thank you so much for your love towards us. Thank you for seeking us out and offering us the free gift of salvation. Thank you for leaving heaven and coming to this earth to die on the cross and pay the price of our sins. Father, we just ask now for your blessing. For this new school year, Father. We have some uncertainties and just, Father, just uncertain times, and we just ask for your blessing. We ask for your will to be done here. Father, we want to be able to educate and to equip these young children and prepare them for whatever you have for them next. So we just ask for your blessing upon this year. In your name, Christ Jesus, we pray. Amen. Again, as I've said, thank you so much for entrusting your students to us. We're going to do everything that we can to ensure their safety and that we have a great year. Remember, our goal and our mission here at Providence Christian School is to assist the Christian home in providing a sound education, both academically and spiritually. And we want to do that in a Christ-honoring and caring atmosphere so that each child may be conformed to the image of Christ. And again, it's our goal that when your children leave here, that they do know Christ, that they have that relationship, that they're prepared academically, spiritually, for whatever God has for them and whatever direction they go. Last year, we graduated all of our students, and they're going off to Christian education and different things, and that's our goal. We want to make sure that your children are prepared for whatever's next. A couple things as we get ready to start this new year. We are in a partnership. Our staff, we've done a lot of things this summer. We've been working hard. And I'll tell you about that in a little bit. And so we've been doing what we feel we can do on our part. But as we get into, and I'm going to talk about the reopening guideline, you guys have to help us, you families. You're part of this process with us. We're going to do everything that we can so that your child comes home every day and had a great day of school. We're going to try to prevent anybody from getting sick, but if we do our part and you as a family don't help us, we can't control that. So again, both of us here, we're trusting everybody in this room makes good, sound decisions, and again, make decisions that doesn't benefit themselves, but it benefits our school community. And so we're going to go through a lot of different things tonight, but again, this is a team effort here this year. And we want to have school. Our teachers are excited. It's fun to watch the kids. They're very excited to be back with their friends and stuff like that. But at the same time, we got to have some restrictions and some guidelines as we open up. Some of the things that we've done this summer, we moved our second grade class over to the ELC building, gave them a little bit bigger room. Some of our rooms we have we kind of decluttered them so we could space out the desk a little bit farther. One room we tore out a wall to expand that room. We've added, we're going to be adding here, we have it on site, we just got to install it, but another touchless water bottle filling station so that the kids, again, don't have to be drinking out of a fountain, but they can just, with touchless, fill their water bottles. The lunchroom, we've added another lunch period. Our lunchroom normally can hold about 120 students at one time. We added another lunch period, and no more than 50 kids will be there at one time. So we're trying to just keep our size, our community smaller. And again, we're trying to keep everybody separate. So elementary, we're trying to keep them out of the path of the high school. Normally, elementary kind of lunch sometimes will trickle over into lunch, or kindergartners will come in at the tail end of high school lunch. And so we're trying to keep them separate. At the end of each lunch period, the tables will be cleaned, disinfected, and that way the new group of students come in, and we're going to compete over that sound the best that we can. But so we've been working this summer and just trying to do things to help ensure that we open up and again, provide a safe environment. As we look into our reopening guidelines, again, the mask, we ask that we just do kind of a plain or a simple pattern. This summer when I put out the email and I mentioned we are going to be wearing masks, within a couple of hours I had several requests. I had several pictures. Can I wear this one? Look at this one. This will be cool. You know, I had all kinds of gator, like literally the Florida Gators masks were coming in. Can we wear this one? And I was like, what in the world? And so there was a wide variety. So we had to just a plain, simple mask, okay? A simple pattern. We don't need any political statements. We don't need any, fair weather fans, and I don't want to see any Tom Brady Buccaneers because he joined, all that stuff. We're just going to do a very basic, simple, plain mask. And so we ask that you wear that. Students, if you can, we'd like for you to identify that. We don't need anybody sharing masks. We don't need our first graders picking up somebody else's mask. So we want to make sure that they're identified. And so parents, if you would do that. And then one other thing with the mask, and we'll talk about when we're going to be wearing them. I would suggest having your kids have 2 masks at school on a daily basis. Again, I know there's discussion about that, but again, if a kid sneezes in one or coughs in it, you don't want to be wearing a dirty mask the rest of your child having them wearing a dirty mask the rest of the day. So it's good to have a second mask with them so that, and also it's not a bad idea at lunch to go ahead and just put on the different mask. Make sure that you're cleaning them and stuff like that. So again, it's a good idea. You don't have to. I'm just saying that you should. It's a good idea. Every morning, so one of the things that we're going to be doing, every morning when you drop the students off, we will go through a checkpoint. All students have to come through our checkpoint. So we've extended, normally at our morning care hours are at 7:45. At that time, they dismiss and go off to class. This year, we'll dismiss the kids at 7:45. But I'm going to be out there every morning. I'll have somebody else out there with me, so we'll talk about the actual location of the drop-off point. But so as soon as your child gets out of the car, I'll be there with a touchless thermometer. I'm going to take their temperature, and I'm going to make sure that they have their mask. Parents, this is one of the ways you can help out. If you think your child was sick, if they're coughing, take their temperature in the morning, because I don't want to have to say, your child has a 100.4 temperature, they need to go back home. That's not going to be convenient for you, because then you're going to have to go back through the traffic, which we all love driving through our traffic in the morning. And so you can help out with that. If you know your child is sick, keep them home. Just keep them home. We are going to make allowances this year as far as the attendance policy. The state of Florida, the Department of Education, last year, they gave us some leeway on attendance policies as far as mandatory attendance. It's normally you can't miss more than 20 days. But again, if your child is sick, we're going to work with you as long as they're making their work up, getting their work turned in. We're going to make sure that they move on to the next grade, help you with that. So again, if your child is sick, don't bring them to school. If they have a temperature of 100.4, and that was from the CDC, that was their recommendation, we're going to be sending them home, okay? So you guys, again, as a parent, if you have the opportunity and if you think your child's not feeling well, take their temperature at the home real quick. If they've got a temperature, keep them home. This is all of us working together. If one person gets sick and we let them come into school, it's going to get passed on. We know that this virus is contagious, and it can be passed in the air. So we want to do our part to prevent that. So the drop-off, so at 7:45, students will be dismissed. Kindergarten, first and second graders. So what we're going to do with you, we're going to actually keep you in there for an extra 5 minutes. All right, and the reason being is that this year, parents, you cannot take your kids to the classroom. All right, let me say that again. Kindergartners, first grade, second grade parents, you cannot walk those children into the building and into the classroom. We're not letting you into the buildings. Okay, that's just one of the precautions that we're taking. So kindergarten, first and second grade, if you still see me outside, or any of the parents, when you're pulling in the parking lot and you see me at the drop-off point outside, drop them off right there. At 7:50, that check-in point is going to transition to the school office, and it's going to be on the outside of the school office. So at 7:50, if you're pulling in and you see myself walking down the sidewalk toward the school office, you will need to park your car, or just make sure that if it's an older student, they can walk to me, and they need to get their temperature checked, and then we'll send them on to class. The teachers, they will... Once they've picked up the students and once the bell has rang, students will need a pass with my signature or another adult signature that basically says that they've been checked, and we're going to let them in the class. We will be a little bit gracious as far as the tardy policy at that time, okay? We want to make sure that everybody does go through the screening process. So after 7:50, again, you're going to stop by the school office. If you're late, if it's 8 o'clock, 8:05, you have to stop by the school office so we can sign you in with an admit slip. But again, remember, kindergarten, first and second graders, no going to the ELC building in the morning. You're not going to drop them off there. We will walk them to class. I don't know if I have any kindergarten families in here. We discussed this. Unfortunately, I know the first day of school, like, oh, we got to get pictures in the classroom. I know, I'm sorry, we're not going to do that. Okay, so if you want to take the pictures, you can park out here, take a picture of them getting out of the car or something like that, but that will be done out here in the parking lot. So just prepare yourself Wednesday morning, dropping your students off at the check-in point, and you'll go on down the road. Now, you can greatly help with our check-in process by having your child out of your vehicle by 7:45. Be on property, in the car drop-off line by 7:45. We get everybody in the class, and we get going with our day and so forth. Water bottles. Again, we've added the touchless water systems. Lower elementary, if you get a water bottle, make sure that it's spill-proof and it has the flip top. That will be the easiest. The first grade teacher doesn't have the time to walk around and unscrew all the tops or anything like that. So that, again, if you have your own water bottle, have it filled up at the beginning of the day, and so they can have access to that during the day. It's not a bad idea. Maybe, I don't know how much water your child will drink, but if they drink a lot, have 2 water bottles, okay? And try to keep them somewhat small in nature. We don't need, Racetrack has those like 64-ounce gallon things. Okay, we don't need to see those. Let's keep it very just modest, but spill-proof. And again, teachers, the elementary teachers, the kids will have times throughout the day to refill them if they need to. So we'll have that, but again, that's just one of the precautions that we can take. In lunch, again, as we mentioned, we're going to have 4 different lunch periods. So first through third grade will eat in the cafeteria by themselves. 4 through 6 will be by themselves. 7th and 8th grade will be on one side of the cafeteria. 9th through 12th will be on the other side. Again, at no point in time, the most at 50 will be the most in there at one time eating lunch. And after each lunch period, we will be going down, wiping the tables, disinfecting them. We did purchase a cleaning product that does kill the virus, and so we will be doing that on a daily basis. One thing with microwaves, we do have the microwaves in there, but we are asking that second grade on down have no microwavable foods. The teachers just don't have the time to help all the little guys. So again, second grade on down, no microwaves for you. But third grade on up, they will have those available. But again, and those will be wiped down on a regular basis. Also, just speaking of the teachers will have their own cleaning kit. So the classrooms will be, elementary classrooms will be disinfected at the end of the day. The 7th through 12th grade, after kids have left the classroom, the teachers will go real quickly and disinfect the desk in between each class. So we're going to be working throughout the day and cleaning things the best that we can. And teachers will be cleaning throughout the day the door handles, any of a common touch area. So each teacher has their own cleaning kit. We have a couple of rags to help with that. So we're going to do as many things like that to help prevent the spread of a virus or just keeping us healthy and safe. The school retreat is normally, this is for 7th through 12th graders, is normally a 2-day event. We take them overnight to Camp Gilead over in Polk City. What we have done is made that a one long day. And so it's going to be on Friday. We won't be staying overnight. Our buses can handle about 46 people at a time, but we're going to take 2 buses so that way we can spread out the kids on the bus. We're going to have them wear the mask on the bus because they're in a closed, confined area. And so that will be it's going to be on Friday the 28th. So we will have that this year. While we're at camp, the kids will be broken into smaller groups of 10. They're still going to get the waterfront time. We're going to have laser tag for them this year. So the girls will be in one section, broken up into groups doing things. The guys will be in the waterfront or vice versa. But we'll have them in smaller groups. And again, and that's the idea. We want to keep each group, we want to keep 7th and 8th graders kind of with them. 9th through 12th graders, they're over there. We want to keep kindergarten, first grade over there, and we're going to try to keep the groups separated as much as we possibly can. But we will have that school retreat. It'll be a one-day activity. They'll come to school at 8 o'clock in the morning, and we're planning on getting back about 10 o'clock on Friday night. And so we'll give the students more information about that as we get closer. Other things, for right now, we're going to suspend any of the birthday parties at lunch, no visitors to the classrooms or to the lunchroom. Again, we don't know how long we're going to have to keep these precautions in place, but again, we're trying to limit the exposure from other people. So for right now, if you need to come on campus, you just need to come to the school office. Please have a mask with you at the office. But again, we're asking our families not to be in the classrooms, not to go to the classrooms, no lunch visitors right now until we get farther down the road and we can kind of get back into a real normalcy, okay? The next thing in your, if you picked up your packet, you will see a COVID-19 waiver. And I'm trying to find that waiver. You'll see it in there. We're doing this on the advisement of our attorney. We talked about this. We're going to do everything that we can as a school and as a ministry to make sure that your child is safe, protected. But understandably, there's not a 100% guarantee. Okay? I cannot say for 100% your child will not get the virus. There's no way to do that. I can't do that. Okay? Our attorney has advised us to hand out this waiver. And again, it's just saying that, we're going to do everything that we can, but at the end of the day, it's still possible to contract the virus. And so you agree to that, and then you're not going to hold the school liable. I'm giving you my word. We're going to do everything that we can, but I can't control parents sending their children to school that are sick. And they may come in without a fever, and we don't know it. I can't control that. So just understand that there is that possibility. So we do ask that you would sign this waiver. You can turn that waiver in tonight to the school office or on the first day of school. and have that to your homeroom teacher or your classroom teacher and turn that in. Also in your packet, we have the re-entry plan. Families that have been with us and we had your email, you should have got an email with this in there. Again, it's in your packet tonight, so you have a copy of this. The two things I want to look at and draw your attention to is when we talk about individual distance learning. And inside that packet, when it talks about distance learning, we use a phrase for, it's called individual medical necessity. And what we're saying there is that your student, your child, has come down with a virus or is sick. And so that's an individual medical necessity that they need to go into quarantine. On the fourth day, we will begin doing distance learning with them, providing video instruction or providing instruction to them through different types of videos. Becca will be using that video platform again, but that will begin on the fourth day that they are absent from school. Okay, so that if they're just not feeling good, because we have kids with allergies, all right? Some people are just going to get a regular cold. It's not the COVID virus, okay? You know, they're going to stay home or, you know, whatever, and they're going to come back to school. But if you test positive and you share with us, you call the school office and you let us know that your son or daughter has tested positive, on the fourth day, you'll go into the distance learning program. And basically, that will be, the minimum will be 10 school days. We have weekends in there. The quarantine is 14 days. Now, what happens is, what we found out is some people went and got tested, and they didn't get the results back for 17, 18 days, okay? If you've fulfilled the 14-day requirement, and the last 3 days of that quarantine, you've shown no symptoms. You've had no fever, no sore throats, no aches, no sniffles, and you've been symptom-free, you can come back into school even though you did not get the result, okay? And with that, when we say no fever, and I say, so your son or daughter has not had a fever for the last 3 days? Oh, no. We've been pumping Tylenol into them. Okay, well, that don't count. Excuse me. So part of that 3 days of no symptoms has to be no symptoms and no medical aids to stay out of a fever. No fever reduction medication is the phrase there. That makes sense, okay? So again, if they've been symptom-free for 3 days and if they're at the end of the quarantine and you can verify that, they can come back into school. And again, let me say this. This is where you as a family, you think of other people. It's not convenient when you're having to miss work and you have to find people to stay home. But please, don't let your child come back here if they're sick. We want to have school. We want to continue forward with school. We do not want to call you and say, everybody stay home for 2 weeks and go into that program. We can if we need to, but we're trying to avoid that. We want to be here on site. Now with that, so that's the symptomatic. So the child has had symptoms, you get them tested, we find out they're tested positive, they're going to stay home, we're going to provide distance learning. In your re-entry plan, it talks about asymptomatic. And we use a phrase, I'm going to read this for you. It says, for students who are asymptomatic or who are healthy and in quarantine due to being in close contact with an individual diagnosed with COVID, distance learning will begin on the day following parental notification. So I want to talk about close contact. So if I walk down the aisle right now and I walk past Mr. Giddings there and we were within that 6-foot social barrier and Mr. Giddings goes home and he's like cough, cough and sick and he's like, Mr. Sainsbury, you were like close to me, I got the virus. But I was not in close contact with him. I passed him. Close contact, this is what it means. So Mr. Seth Houghton, you got a birthday coming up? We'll pretend your birthday's this weekend, okay? And I'm coming over because Seth's my best friend, and we're excited to be in 6th grade this year. And Seth's having this big birthday party. And I go over to Seth's house this weekend, and Seth and I are having a great time. We're playing video games, and I'm sitting at the table next to him, and we don't have our mask on. And I've spent an extended amount of time face-to-face with not adhering to the social barrier. I have been in close contact with him. If he tests positive, I need to go into a quarantine period. Okay, so understand the difference when we talk about close contact. So if your child tests positive and you give us a call, we're going to find out who have you been in close contact with, and we're going to ask you some questions. And again, we need you to be honest with us. Okay. Now, when it comes to asymptomatic, if you share that with us, you stay home for a few days, at least a minimum of 3, and after 3 or 4 days, you have not shown a single symptom. Your child never had a fever, they never coughed, they don't have any aches, there's no congestion, you will tell me that, we'll talk about it, and then we'll let you come back to school earlier, okay? So that's the difference between asymptomatic and symptomatic. So again, we will talk through that at that point in time. One other thing about the distance learning, if your child's in that quarantine period, we're just going to work on the instruction. We're not going to have them take the test or quizzes at home. So that'll be a little bit easier to the families. You won't have to worry about that aspect of it. We're just going to provide the learning, the instruction, the homework assignments, and then when they come back to school, we will get them caught up with tests and quizzes, and we'll work through that at that point in time. And again, if you have more questions about that, you can see me or call the school office. You can talk to me about that one-on-one. We're trying to prevent having to shut the school completely down. Okay? If we have to do that, we will. And we will communicate with you what our next steps will be. So we are working on that. Again, with elementary, we've got that pretty well ironed out. We are working at the high school level to provide video instruction of the classroom. But one of the reasons we're starting August the 12th and we're not delaying is, first off, we believe we're ready. We're not dealing with the volume that our public schools and some of the other schools are dealing with. We're averaging 13 to 14 students per class size, okay? So again, it's a smaller number. We feel we can go ahead and open up August the 12th. If we would have delayed a week or two, and we start the school year, now we're already starting the school year behind academically, and then if we had to close the school for a couple of weeks, that just puts us much farther behind in the school year process. Our goal is to get to Christmas on time, have our semester break, come back in January, be excited that it's a new year and we put 2020 behind us and start looking forward to new things. And so we're going to be working towards that, okay? So we want to go ahead and get started. And like I say, we have a couple of days already built into our calendar. We have some leeway, so if we need to close school for a few days or something, that, again, we've got room in there that we don't have to make up a couple of days. And so we're going to try to keep us on track. And like I say, the goal is to get to Christmas and on track and get into our semester exams at that point, and like I say, put this behind us, okay? And again, if you have other questions concerning that, please see me afterwards. I'll be available tonight to talk more about that. All right, now to the rest of the program, or the information that we need to provide for you. And again, you have your student handbook. There is, in the student handbook, it talks about attendance. You can read that. I can't go over everything in here, so it's your responsibility for the information in here. We do have you sign also a parent agreement form. So you got 2 forms to sign for us here. One is the COVID waiver form, and then this one here is the parent agreement form that you have gone through the handbook and that you agree to abide by the handbook rules. And so you need to do that. Your child needs to also put your child's names on there. And you don't need one for each child. The parents can sign the waivers or the agreement forms. You can put all of your children's names on one piece of paper, and then that will suffice there. And again, we would like that turned in to your homeroom teachers on Monday. Again, about attendance. Do everything that you possibly can to have your kids in school. The more days that they attend, the more days they're in school, the better academically they will be. Okay, so we have the attendance guidelines in there. The ELC building, I know sometimes parents, you're running late, but if you're, again, right now, you have to check in with us in the school office. But again, no parent should be taking their kid to the classrooms if they're late. They have to stop in the school office and get that admit slip. So if you could help us out with that, that would be good. Just a reminder on tardies, unexcused tardies. If you have 3 of those in a 9-week period, that equals an unexcused absence. So again, it's very important to get your children here on time in the morning, and so that we can get the day off to a good start. We talked about the lunch program a little bit, and separating that out. We will still go with our vendors. Remember, Chick-fil-A is on Tuesday and Thursday. Wednesdays and Fridays, we have Marco's Pizza. And Mrs. Herlocker, by popular demand, is bringing her grilled cheese sandwiches back on Mondays. We will begin that next week. Now, I can't remember. I think we're going to wait a week or 2 on the grilled cheese on Monday, but we will have the Chick-fil-A vendors available on Tuesday and Thursday starting next week. Again, parents, you do what's comfortable for you. You don't have to use those if you don't want to, but again, they are prepackaged. Our Mr. Morris in the cafeteria, Mrs. Johnson, if they're in there serving food, they're going to have gloves on, they're going to have masks on, they're going to do everything they can to ensure that your food is safe and uncontaminated. We will have the concessions available in the cafeteria also at lunch. One thing I didn't mention, or I need to mention, is remember that there's no charging lunches, okay? So you need to make sure that your kid gets out of the vehicle with either money to buy Hot Pockets or ramen noodles or whatever you're allowing them to eat that day, or they have their lunch, okay? If by chance the child forgets the lunchbox, we will make a peanut butter jelly sandwich, we'll give them a bag of chips and a bottle of water. The reason we do that sounds kind of mean, right? That's kind of lunch. Well, I found out a little trick that some of our lower elementary kids were doing a while back. And they figured out that if they forgot lunch on Chick-fil-A Tuesday, they could order Chick-fil-A sandwiches and nuggets. And next thing you know, Mom and Dad were getting a bill for like $40 for Chick-fil-A at the end of the month. Anybody okay with that? All right, so, again, we want them to make sure that they're picking them. We understand accidents happen, but again, we don't want to be charging lunches. We don't want you guys to be getting that bill for $40 or $50 and like, what did you buy? What in the world? So again, just make sure that they're prepared for that. Again, dress code, we did not make any changes this year to dress code. Again, the main thing, we have a ton of shirts in there, so if you're needing shirts, stop by, see Mrs. Slater. We have all sizes available. I think all colors are in there this year. There's still items in there for the used portion of that, so if you're looking for pants or skirts, stop in there and see Mrs. Slater. She'll let you into that room. But again, remember that if you purchase something outside of our school, it has to be done through Land's End. So we have the link on here. They have the items on there. So again, either you purchase it from our school office, uniform room, or you're purchasing that from Land's End. I do realize that I've heard that Land's End is backed up on a couple of things right now. I'm not sure all the items. If you try to order something and your daughter needs a skirt and it hasn't come in yet, call Mrs. Slater tomorrow, and so that we can help assist with that. If there's an issue that you just, for whatever reason, you didn't get something, make sure you contact Mrs. Slater so that we can make arrangements for the first couple of days until everything that you ordered comes in. Finances, any billing questions, you want to talk to Julie Stevens. Most of you should have done that this summer. You got to meet Miss Julie. She sets up your financial fax agreements. If you have any questions or just not sure what the charge was or anything, you need to contact her. She is available. Her office hours are 7:30 in the morning to 12:30 every day, Monday through Friday. If you can't get a hold of her at that time, you can email her. But that's the best time to, if you have an office or financial question, that's the best time to do that. Mrs. Slater sometimes can help out, but we're trying to have Ms. Stevens take care of all the financial part on that end. We talked a little bit about morning care, aftercare. Again, we do have the early drop-off. Students can be dropped off as early as 7 o'clock. We have that available in our chapel building over here. There's a fee for that. At 7:30, there's no fee, and they're just waiting there to be picked up by the teacher. So morning care, that is open at 7 a.m., and we will begin checking the screening process at 7 a.m. Okay, so that will start immediately. So if you're dropping your child off early, we'll have people over there taking care of that. After school, first grade and kindergarten will be getting out about 3:05. They'll be outside. Now, you will pick them up in front of their building. Okay, so kindergarten and first grade, and I'll show you a map here in a minute, but they will be picked up in front of their building. Second grade through 12th grade, they'll be outside by 3:10, and they'll be picked up. So he put that map up there for us, so let's take a quick look at that. So in the morning, you see on the bottom of the map that red line. And so basically, when you pull in the parking lot, once you get past this carport here, there'll be some cones out there for the first week. We'll have that identified. Once you get past that last cone, you're just going to make a U-turn right there. Your car's passenger side doors will be facing the chapel building. There will be adults out there. The kids get out of the car at that point. And so that'll happen between 7 and 7:50. And then the next line there, I believe it is the black line. So at 7:50, you can come over there by the school office and use your judgment there. You may be able to just do a U-turn there. If there's nobody coming, you can. If you need to park and let them out. So again, we don't need any traffic accidents out there in the middle of the parking lot. And then again, if you have to park, just find any of the stalls, park, walk the kid over to the office. So that's the morning one. And the afternoon one, he'll show you that there. So again, the red line is for 7th grade through 12th grade. When you come in, as you're coming into the parking lot, you will see the canopy, which is right by the gymnasium. 7th through 12th grade will be picked up there. And you'll make a right turn there. You'll go toward the gravel, and the kids will get in the vehicle. Then you can just do a U-turn and come back out. As I was mentioned, kindergarten and first grade, they're on the black. They're going to go all the way to the back of the property. They will pull around in front of the ELC building. And there, again, Miss Stevens will be out there, or Mrs. Stevens, Mrs. McLaughlin, one of them will be out there helping the kids get into the vehicle. One of the things we are going to do to help alleviate congestion back there is it's important, if you know your kid's going to Aftercare, let your teacher know that. We're going to take the Aftercare kids right away so that they're not waiting outside just unnecessarily. So we'll be dropping off Aftercare students over there so that we don't have as many kids outside waiting in the car rider line. And then the blue line in the middle there, that is for 2nd grade through 6th grade. And that one's a little bit trickier because you got to cross traffic and you're dealing with the preschool pickup kids there, but you're going to just come through the parking stalls and stop in front of the school office there. Again, the teachers will be out there. We'll be getting your child in the vehicle, and that way you can keep moving. I'll be out there in the morning and in the afternoon for the first couple weeks just to help direct traffic. Now, 2nd grade through 6th grade parents that are picking their children up. One thing you can do, and this would be for K-5 and 1st grade, make sure that you get those blue hangers that has your child's name on it. So when you pull up, it's going to take us a couple weeks to identify whose parents or whose cars are who, but have those hanging on your car. If you have a couple people that will be picking up these students, let your teacher know that we do have extra car hangers and we can work with that. But going back to 2nd through 6th graders, one thing we ask is if you're looking at that map, you see where the blue line crosses over the red and the black. Don't stop your car there. It's kind of like in the stoplight, the intersection, people are trying to get through, then they end up stuck in the middle of the intersection and it obstructs the other people that have a green light and they start honking at you. So make sure that if you're going to make that left-hand turn there, that you're not going to stop the flow of traffic coming out from the back ELC parking back there. And again, I'll be out there the first couple of days to assist with that to make sure that we have that flowing smoothly. And again, be patient, but we're in and out, and for the most part, it goes very well. All right, just a few more things here, and we will be done. In your packet tonight, you have I believe, 2 calendars. You have August and September. So we've got the first 2 months. So make sure that you're checking those calendars to see what's coming up. Also on Fridays, you'll get an email. And we have our Nightline, and we're trying to streamline that. We're so used to texting, we don't like to read a full document anymore. We just want the facts and like, all right, good, I don't need to read. But make sure when we send you those emails and you see it's coming from the school, make sure that you take the time to read all the information, okay? That's our main method of communicating to you. We'll send stuff home to the kids at times, but again, when we send those emails to you, please take the time and read through those. And so you can expect one on Friday, which lets you know what's happening in the next couple of weeks. So we got school pictures coming up and just different things. We want to make sure that you have that information, and so make sure that you're reading that in those calendars. One other thing, let me just point out here, when it comes to hurricane days and stuff like that, we will follow Hillsborough County School District if they close schools. So if you know a storm's coming and you see Hillsborough County Schools has closed on such and such date, we will follow the closing date. We most likely will open before they do, okay? Because we're not a shelter, we're dealing with different things, so there's times that we can open up sooner. So we'll inform you about that. So just when it comes to hurricane days or anything like that, we will follow the general consensus in the community. Everybody's shutting down. We're going to be shutting down at the same time. We want to make sure everybody can do the necessary preparations that they need for their homes or their families. But we may open a day or two earlier. And again, that will come through email and also our school's Facebook pages. Make sure when you're on campus, we put those nice speed bumps in last year, okay? They're there for a reason. It is not worth saving 10 seconds and taking out a student. So please, on campus, drive slowly. Watch out for little kids. We have some bushes. Kids hide behind bushes. You can't see them as they're walking. Okay, so we try to have the kids using the crosswalks, but again, please take your time on campus. Keep it under 10 miles an hour, okay? Headmaster, make sure that you will get an email from Mrs. Slater about Headmaster. That is an online program that lets you see grades, billing information, any behavioral issues. So you will get a link from Mrs. Slater. You will have to set up an account. You may have your account from last year, but once you get that email from the office, take a few minutes and set that account up so you can keep track of how the students are doing in the classroom. Just as a reminder, we have a cell phone policy for our kids, a rule there that the kids are not to have their cell phones in class, using them, having them available. They can have them in their backpack, turned off, out of sight. They can turn them on at the end of the school day in car line to communicate with you. But again, that's a policy from us that we do not want the kids using cell phones in the classroom. All of our faculty have cell phones. If there's an emergency, they will take care of our children and make sure that they're safe and make any calls that need to be made there. All right, we are getting closer. At the end of this meeting, Pastor Paul is our athletic director and Bible teacher. He's going to have a meeting with athletics. So if you're interested in any fall sports and winter sports, take a few minutes. He's going to go over a couple things. He's going to talk to you about athletics and what athletics is going to be for the fall. If you're interested in fine arts, or if you have any questions about fine arts and music, see Mrs. Herlocker and Miss Embry. They can answer questions concerning fine arts, music, and band. The first day of school, again, have your kids ready out of the car by 7:45, and we can get going. Elementary, 6th grade on down, their teachers will pick them up. They will escort them to the classroom. 7th through 12th grade, we will stay in the chapel that first day of school. We'll have our opening morning assembly and orientation in there. So again, plan on staying put in there. And then again, if you have questions, please see me. I try to have an open door policy. If there's anything's going on, I want to be, if I can help or solve issues, I would like to. I do ask, though, that you make sure that you talk to your teachers first. If something happened in the classroom or you're not sure of something, you need to go to your teacher first. You need to talk to them. I'll make a deal with you. I make this deal every year, and I want to remind you of this. I promise, if you will do this, if you don't believe everything your child says about us, I promise we won't believe everything they say about you. Okay? There's always two sides. So we always want to make sure that we have all the information, okay? So it's important. Something happens in the school day, talk to your teacher, okay? Our teachers are here to educate your children. They are making sacrifices to be here. They are here because they really love doing what they're doing, and they truly care about your children. And they want to make sure that they have a great school year. And they're going to do whatever they can, okay? We're not perfect. If there's a situation, talk to the teacher. If it's just not getting resolved, let me know, and we'll work through it, okay? But don't wait 2 months, because then we forget all the facts. And then it's just, okay, something happens, the sooner you can talk with that teacher one-on-one. And again, you have to set that up. You can't just do a drive-by and catch them and say, you know, you got to have a time where you can sit down and have a good conversation to make sure we're clear. Our teachers make themselves available, okay? So please do that for me. At this time, if you have not been to your classrooms, elementary teachers, if you have not, elementary students, if you have not been to your classrooms, we want you to make sure that you do that. They have a packet of information, so those forms and things that I were talking about, your teachers have that. If you have a family and multiple students, go to the youngest child of your family to get the information, okay? So if you got several of them, go to the youngest one. That teacher will have that. Like I say, in a few minutes, we will have the middle school, high school sports program, that meeting. What we're going to do now is you're free to go. If you don't know what your teacher looks like, I'm going to put up the teachers real quick. So if you're not sure what kindergarten Mrs. McLaughlin looks like, we're going to put those through here. So, but otherwise, you are dismissed. I'll be around. Go see your teachers. And so thanks for coming out. So kindergarten teacher is Mrs. McLaughlin. That is over in the ELC building. First grade is Mrs. Stevens. She's over there in the ELC building. Second grade, Mrs. Singleton. And again, this is new. So second grade this year is in the ELC building. And then third grade is Mrs. Randall, and she's in room 120, and that's the two-story building on the side that faces the cemetery. Fourth grade, Mrs. Gardner, she is upstairs in room 203. Fifth grade is Miss Head, she's in room 201. Sixth grade, Mr. Gardner, he is in 202. And you guys stayed for all that. Do you all want to see your seventh grade teachers and eighth grade teachers? We got photos of them too. Like seventh grade sponsor is Miss Embry. She's in 211. If you have any questions, go see her, seventh graders. Eighth grade is Mrs. Moreno. This year, Mr. Randall and I are in a debate about 9th and 12th grade, who's going to sponsor it. So right now, we're kind of working together on both of them. And if you have any 9th grade issues, go see, and the information is with Miss Herlocker since I'm over here. So 9th grade parents, you can pick up packets with Miss Herlocker. 10th grade is Mrs. Herlocker. 11th grade is Mrs. Poole. And then again, 12th grade will be myself or Mr. Randall, okay? Thank you for coming, and we look forward to seeing you all bright and early Wednesday morning. Ready to go. All right, thank you for coming.